What is up, fam? Thank you so much for joining us tonight on So Real Sports Talk TV. We got a real special show. I got an OG 49er head with me today. He goes by Coach Yac. You probably know him from Twitter, know him from all them shows from back in the day. But we got him here tonight. First time on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight, Coach. How's
Thanks for
everything
having
going?
me. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be great. There's a lot to talk about, even though the season just ended a few weeks ago. Um, but yeah, man, just for some people that may not know you, I know you're an OG, so like you've been talking 49ers much longer than me and some of these other guys here. But can you give us a little bit, maybe just a quick bit about how you became a 49ers fan, and then
Yeah.
also how you got into just reporting about them?
All right. You know, I grew up being a Niners fan. Probably I started taking on that team probably around 7 years old.
Okay.
Being out on the East Coast, you're watching Joe Montana play and Jerry Rice and all that. So Roger Craig and all. So that's what really pulled me in. And then ever since then, it's been I've been addicted to it. So I mean, and being out east, you're dealing with a lot of Philly fans.
Right.
So, I've had some run-ins and all in the past growing up, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's funny because we just talked about off camera. I lived on the East Coast. I've been to some Eagles games, and even when the Eagles win, man, those fans are on edge, man. They're fighting each other. It is a different animal when it
Yeah,
comes to like Philly fans for sure. It was a different experience, man. They're never happy, never satisfied.
no, yeah, no. They're definitely. Did you go to the Niners game in Philly this year or no?
Nah, I was out on this side at this
Okay,
coast, yeah.
so I'll tell you what. I've been to several Eagles games, and they've always bullied the opposing fans. They bullied them for most of throwing beers at them, talking shit. Let me tell you something. This past year, the Niner fans took over that stadium.
Really?
Oh yeah, I've never seen how many frustrated Philly fans there were in one section. I mean, we had Eagle fans were leaving early, getting pissed because we were yelling and so loud. And it's not what you would think when you hear Philly fan. You would think how they're tough and they're gonna punch you in the face and this and that. Yeah, nah, that day there
They
was
backed down.
crazy. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, this was an interesting year, man. I think the Niners family and the faithful traveled really well to a lot of stadiums. It,
Yeah.
it seems like maybe people are getting more back because when you started watching the team, those were the heydays. I mean, people don't
Hmm.
realize how much the Niners were just a staple. They were the cool team to play for. They had a lot of swag. Obviously, they were winning quite a bit. And then there was the 2 decades that has been where it's kind of been a struggle. You had a little mini, like when John Harbaugh came in, a little mini stint of success. And
Yep.
now with Kyle Shanahan, we're starting to feel that again. But back in the day, it was like bandwagon to be a 49er fan, even
Oh
though
yeah.
most of us
Yep.
were like, had
Yeah.
been a fan just because we grew up watching them.
Yep, it was back in the day. It was Dallas fans, Niner fans, Buffalo Bills fans. They were the three biggest fan bases. That
Right. And
you'd
I would
see.
say, I mean, obviously Dallas has all of the like pretty
Oh
boy
yeah,
fans, I feel like, but like the Niner fans, I feel like are real thorough. You know what I mean? You're starting to see it the way that they
yeah.
travel, all that kind of stuff. So
Oh,
that's
definitely.
great, man. That's great.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Coach, I did want to talk to you about a few things. There was some breaking news today. Rich Gangarello went off to take a coaching job in Kentucky. Now, he was obviously part of this coaching staff for some time. Um, and we're starting to see some turnover, right? Some people are going with McDaniels over to Miami. Scangarello now is off in the college ranks. Um, what do you think this means for the 49ers offense? And is there anything we could read into this, or was this something you were just expecting with,
No,
change of seasons and stuff?
I honestly, are we really going to miss Rich? You know, I didn't even put anything about that on Twitter. Usually, when something happens, it's like some kind of news like that. Certain handles will, fly off and put that out there. I just ignore it. It's just like, it's irrelevant news for that. I mean, I, listen. I mean, you want to look at it as long as you're key coaches are in place, and they are, then we're not gonna suffer. Not for any of these coaches that we've lost. So, and that team McDaniel, you know what? I mean, great run game coordinator, but again, Kyle's calling the shots. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Now, I did notice, if you paid attention on Twitter today, about Bobby Turner.
Yeah. He was missing, right? He was
Yeah,
missing from that list, which is
yeah.
kind of
So,
scary because of what he's able to do.
I don't know if he's just because, he's up there in age, maybe he's done. I don't know. Or, he was on there and now he's not, but there's no news has broke on that yet. And that's, I would miss him. He's definitely key to the backfield in the run
Yeah.
game. So,
Not only his ability to coach, but also his ability to just see talent in the late rounds. Like, he's, fifth round and below. That's all him, the scouting jobs and picking
undrafted,
those guys,
yeah,
undrafted
undrafted
guys.
free
And
agent, yeah.
he seems to be extremely talented in being able to see the type of people that'll fit the scheme. But I have to believe, that he's a Kyle Shanahan guy through and through. I
Mhm.
think that you're probably more on the right track, that if he's not coaching here, it's probably more geared towards retirement than him
Yep.
maybe landing at a different position. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's definitely. It's not like he's going from one team to the next. I can see him hanging it up, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe when they were updating, the coaching positions, that they for accidentally removed him. Who the hell knows? I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on.
Got you. Now, the only thing with Rich, and then we can move off of it. I mean, I've been seeing some people talking about he might not have been the biggest fan of Trey. He was more of a
Right.
Mac Jones
Matt
guy,
Jones,
and
yeah.
then maybe this is more kind of like, okay, Trey is going to be the starter. Would you read into it like that, or you just think it's just just changing the guards?
No, I mean, listen. At the end of the day, we're just going to assume, right?
Yeah,
So maybe we're looking a little deeper there. I mean, we're looking. Sometimes you tend to overthink stuff, and I don't think it's that it's, oh, you don't like Trey, then get out of here, or I don't like Trey and I want to get out. I don't believe that one bit. I
no,
don't. No, I don't. I just think that's just another chapter of his life he wants to go to. Maybe he doesn't want to deal with Kyle Shanahan. You know.
could be,
He could be a
could
pain
be.
in the ass in person. You might deal with it. Like, you've read it, you've heard it, how
Yeah.
hard to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he was just like, I don't want to deal with this guy anymore.
Yeah,
So
and Anthony Lynn coming in is another big personality. So maybe
yeah,
he's just starting to see maybe what you, like we said, are we gonna miss him? Maybe he's starting to see the writing on the wall that, like,
yeah,
maybe the team doesn't need him as much, right?
yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, let's talk about some other rumors that are circulating, and I really want to get your take on this, Coach, because you are OG. You've been watching not just the 49ers, but football in general, and it's kind of, this has been really insane to me because ever since, I guess, Jimmy went down in 2018, it seems like every offseason the 49ers are flirting with the big name quarterbacks, or at least they're being combined to in national news with the big name quarterbacks. A couple years ago, just after Jimmy G took him to the Super Bowl, they were talking about Tom Brady. Last year, it was Deshaun Watson. It was, Matt Stafford. It was Aaron Rodgers. And then they ended up doing the trade and getting Trey. And now, I mean, this season, and it was like, is Trey going to start? Is Jimmy going to start? Jimmy ended up starting. We had the season that we had. And it seemed like it was just going to be a seamless transition to Trey. But
Right.
that doesn't seem to be the case, right? Now there's talks maybe Jimmy might stay. They're looking at Aaron. They're looking at Tom Brady. What do you
Right.
make of all these rumors? Because it's kind of strange to me, especially when you have a guy like Trey, who I think can be the future. What do you make of all these rumors and the belief in Trey around the team?
Well, you said the key word there, rumors, right?
Yeah,
Nobody really knows. I mean, I tweeted out like, "Are you good with Brady as a quarterback?" And you would think probably 95% would say, yeah. We got, it was majority. Don't get me wrong. It was probably like a 70-30. Think about it. Yes, money's going to be the issue, but if you get Tom Brady as your quarterback, you're going to take that not 10 times out of 10 over Trey Lance, who's 21, right? A guy that's
absolutely.
been there in every big game. He's been there. Okay. So, if that was an opportunity, absolutely you go for that. Aaron Rodgers he won't be here.
Right.
That's more of a, that's an even bigger, just, I look at that like, I don't even talk about it on handle because that's not going to even happen in Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady, he could force himself off of Tampa, come here maybe after June 1st and then run the show. Even that, though, it's most likely not going to happen. It's going to be Trey Lance. Trey Lance will be the starting quarterback this year. You're going to see a lot of wow. You're going to see a lot of wow throws, and that we haven't seen with Garoppolo. You might have seen a few, but not downfield wow passes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
man, but you're also going to see the bumps right in the road. You're going to see what the fuck kind of throw is that? It happens. It happens. He's going to be 21. And I know, Niner fans are extremely critical, and it's going to be a shit show for a while once Trey's out there and just doing his thing, because you're going to have the Jimmy backers, right? Jimmy stands, whatever the hell you want to call them, that are going to critique it, because guess what? Every time Jimmy was in there, everybody else busted Jimmy's balls,
Yeah,
right? So
absolutely.
that's like, all right, well, here's what you wanted. Look at that throw. You see what I'm saying? You're going to get some of that during the season, and it's expected, fans to be fans and try to make bad throws here and there, because again, he'll only be 22 during the season. He's still got he's got a lot to learn, a lot to process. You see all these, he's green, he's not ready. Well, how many 21, 22-year-old quarterbacks are ready, right? It's not like, it's common for a 22-year-old to step on the football field and tear it up. If you remember Peyton Manning, he was an interception machine his rookie year.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So could you imagine if we got that kind of, that kind of play out of Trey Lance year one? The whole year will be miserable.
Right.
I mean,
They'd be calling him a bust.
yeah. You know what? Listen, everybody knows it takes more than 1 year to be labeled a bust.
Right.
It takes multiple years. Some kids come out of college and they click on all cylinders early on. Nick Bosa, right? Then you got other players that come on that takes 2-3 years to really get going. So, I mean,
I think it's going to be cool for Trey because he's not going to be asked to do too much, right? The team around him is still very good. The team is always going to be a run first team. So and obviously he has an offensive coach or offensive mind and a head coach like Kyle Shanahan that's just a genius at scheming people open.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing for him is just getting comfortable in the system. And like you said, I mean, Kyle Shanahan, a lot of people don't realize he always has different layers to his schemes. He has a short play, he has a medium play, and he has a long play. And I know recently you posted up about Brandon Ayuk, or I think he's even, the header on your Twitter. And Brandon Ayuk is always that deep route. So with Jimmy, who was somebody who never or wasn't very confident throwing that deep ball, Brandon Ayuk was always left out to dry. And it wasn't because he was running a bad route. It wasn't because he didn't get separation. It's just Jimmy didn't feel comfortable throwing that ball. I think with Trey, that option deep is going to be more open, or at least utilized more. So it's going to look like the offense is different. And I think guys like Brandon Ayuk and that whoever is running that deep route, they're going to see a lot more success because just a more opportunity.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely see that. Ayuk's probably going to be, he'll jump up, if everything goes as I expect it, he's probably going to be a top 15 receiver sooner than, people think. Now, when I say people think, inside, our fan base, yes, we already see that. We already expect that. But outside our fan base, people look at Ayuk as basically, they're like, he's a so-so receiver. You know what I'm saying? He'll make a play here and there. That's all. But, he's got the potential. He'll take it to the next level. So, I also think Kittle's another one that's going to see a lot more downfield now, instead of those 5-yard throws. And, I think he's going to see a lot more. I don't think we're going to see much different out of Debo.
Right.
I think he will. He'll be lined up more in the backfield moving forward, right? Give him, anywhere 6, 7, 8 carries in a game. So it'll be interesting. But no, I'm excited to see what Lance is going to do this year. And, my expectations aren't crazy. I'm not going to sit there and say, 30 touchdown passes, 10 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
I don't expect any of that.
Yeah, and I mean, people have to realize that even at NDSU in the year that he started there, he wasn't throwing the ball a lot. I think he averaged like 16 passes per game. And Kyle Shanahan overall in his offensive schemes, he doesn't throw the ball a lot. He averages about 25 passes per game, regardless of, even when he had, Matt Ryan, it wasn't much higher than that, maybe like a few passes here and there. But overall, it's a run first team. And I think the things that 49er fans that are, excited about Trey, and you probably know this too, Coach, you saw some of the good young quarterbacks right now, whether it be Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Burrow or Herbert. It's more what they're able to do when things break down, how their legs and their strong arms, like they're still able to make a play, even when somebody blows, maybe blows a block or blows a route or something like that. Like that you could extend the play and you could still keep the team competitive or break the defense's back by doing something when they did everything right. You still had an athlete on the field that's your quarterback that could go out there and still make a play. And that's something the 49ers haven't had in a while, maybe since Kaepernick. And even then, Kaepernick was more with his legs. It wasn't with his arm. I think with Trey, you're able to see both of that, which is what's really exciting, right?
Definitely. Like you say, you got the run game. So offense is built off the run game. We got the defense, so that alone is going to keep us in most games.
For sure.
Don't ask too much out of Trey. Let him get, comfortable. Then, he'll start, I would say by halfway through the season, you'll see more and more out of him, more confidence. And, it's going to start taking off. The only question is the offensive line.
Right.
Right.
Great segue, my man. So obviously with the young quarterback, you want to keep the guy protected. Right. Obviously, Trey is a lot different of a quarterback from Jimmy, especially when it comes to the quick release. Jimmy's release was pretty elite as far as his quick release. Trey does hold the ball a little bit longer and also, he's probably going to be somebody who has more confidence in his mobility to try to make a play. The 49ers obviously run the inside or the zone scheme. But one thing that they haven't been good at, Coach, is drafting the right offensive linemen. The best offensive linemen they have on the team have all been people that they've traded for or gotten in free agency. So with Laken Tomlinson looking like he's going to test free agency, and there seems like there's a lot of people that would want him, especially Cincinnati and Miami, I'm hearing. And, we got guys like Brunskill that are free agents and a lot of young guys that haven't necessarily shown a lot of promise. How can the 49ers upgrade their offensive line?
Well, you got two key pieces that are their biggest issues of free agency, right? It's Tomlinson and Mac's not a free agent, obviously, but, is he going to retire?
Right.
You got two key players on that offensive line that, honestly, I don't know if we lose Tomlinson, then, what do? Do we sit there and put Banks in there?
That was his natural position, right? That was his natural position in college.
Right. So, here's the thing, right? So you can look at a couple of things. So, all right, let's just say Thompson does stay. We give him almost $10 million a year, right? About that. He stays. Alex Mack stays. Then Banks is going to have to you're going to give a contract to Brunskill. Nothing crazy. He's not going to warrant much money. So you keep him around, but have those two battle in camp, right? Brunskill and Banks.
Mm-hmm.
Let them. And we're assuming Thomas is going to stay. If he doesn't stay, then you move him to left guard, and then you're going to sit there and say, all right, we still have an issue on right guard. I don't know how you feel about Brunskill. I personally, I'm not a fan of him. I don't think he sucks. But I think he's more of like
a starter. He's good in spot duty, like as a backup.
Right. But, that Tomlinson and Mack are going to tell you what we're going to do. If one retires and one leaves, then we're going to have to go get a center like Kelsey, right?
Right.
You're going to have to get a center and pay that $10 million. If you're losing both of them, I mean, because you can't replace both your center and your left guard and keep Brunskill as your right guard. I just replace them with draft picks or, average, free agents. You're going to have to go spend either tackle or left guard or center. You're going to have to replace one of those two holes for free agency. And that could very well mean we lose DJ Jones on the other side of the ball. Because he's going to want 8, 9, I don't think 10, but 8 to 9 million a year. He's going to want, right? I mean, we're going to get rid of Garoppolo. We're going to free up money, but do we have money to keep everybody here? Does Thompson take the money for 8, 9, or 10 million, and then does Jones take a discount? Does he take a discount of maybe 7 million a year to stay, or does he want a big payday?
Right.
Then Mac.
Let's stick with
a lot of pieces on the line.
Let's stick with the offensive line, Coach. What is it about the 49ers and their scouting of young offensive linemen that they just seem to not either pick the right? Well, for example,
the only one
last season
drafting is McGlinchey, and now me personally, McGlinchey's not as bad as Grant Cohn's going to sit there and say he is, but he's not great either.
Right.
He's very good in the run game and average. I've been saying that he's average in pass protection. Yes, you're going to see he's going to be on the wrong side of a highlight twice every game. He is. He's going to get, he's going to get ran over, right? But what did you say earlier? We're built off the run game, right?
Right.
He's one of the better run blockers in the game. You got to keep him. Yeah, he's going to make a lot of money this year, but you got to keep him around. So they did hit on that draft pick. Didn't warrant where they got him, but
right.
It is what it is.
And he's not necessarily who I think is a problem. But I mean, like, for example, last season, they picked Aaron Banks over Creed Humphreys, right? Creed Humphreys went on and had like an all-pro season. Aaron Banks barely even made it on the field, if he even did. I think he played a few snaps against Jacksonville. The year before, they picked Kinlaw when they had Trenton Wirfs there available. Yeah. So, it seems like if they either pick the wrong guy or they are passing on guys that could be solutions for the long term. So is that a scouting issue, Coach, or is that more just like they like guys that fit a specific scheme kind of thing?
That's what it is. So for the Kinlaw pick, right, you just lost Buckner. You got to replace. You got to get a body, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to call Kinlaw a bust yet, right? He's played one full season, been injured here, right? Mm-hmm. Had knee problems. They knew about the knee problems. So I can see where fans can say, what the fuck, man? You knew he had issues. Right? But you still went and drafted him. So they definitely didn't take best player available 2 years ago when they got Kinlaw. Put it that way. But at the same time, I think that was more of a pick that, all right, we lost inside on D-line. We got to replace a big body. He fits the bill. He's a big guy. He's strong. We look at his film. We like that. He can step in and maybe down the road come close to what Buck produced. Obviously, that's not going to – I don't think it's going to happen.
Right.
But so that was more of a need.
Reach, yeah.
So, I mean, the other side, if you look at Banks – maybe he was a pick just because of Trey Lance, right? You got Lance, and he's going to fit his passing game, which is much different than Jimmy's, right?
Right.
So maybe that was, in fact, a Trey Lance pick for him, that offensive line. All right, we don't need to start him, year one. Because if you pay attention during the season, that was said a couple of times, like they didn't expect Trey Lance to play any snaps, right? Banks not to play. Look at Sermon, right? They wanted all these rookies. Look at the rookies. Thomas in the secondary, right? You see what I'm saying? Lenore, right? They weren't supposed to start. They thought the first year when we drafted them last year, we're going to redshirt them. Let them learn. We got a bunch of vets on the team. Let them learn, right? But then Vera goes down, right?
Uh-huh.
Now we thought, it's, oh, shit. I'm going to try Lenore out there. Got his ass cooked a couple times, right? And you put Thomas out there. The beginning, he got cooked. He got better as the games went on, Thomas, and I think he's going to be a solid player. But they weren't supposed to play last year. Trey, if Jimmy Garoppolo is your quarterback, you should expect Trey Lance to play because the motherfucker's going to get hurt, right? Jimmy's going to get hurt. It is what it is. So, but yeah,
and I mean, talking about maybe the long play, maybe this was the I guess the insurance policy in case they had to let Laken Tomlinson walk, right?
Yeah.
So maybe get a guy who might not be ready year one, but could be a great talent once he's in a system, once he's coached up by NFL coaches. He has the big body. He needs to work on the feet, and then maybe he just slides into left guard, and then you still have a really big left side with obviously Trent Williamson there as well.
Yeah, and hopefully Max comes back. If Max comes back, that's good. You got him between two vets, right?
Right.
Now, if Mac leaves, then you got to replace that, and you're not going to replace it with a center. In a rookie, you're not going to put a rookie center in, and basically a rookie in Banks side by side, and then friggin' Brunskill on the right. That'll be a shit show. Then Trey Lance isn't going to have much time. He's going to be running for his life. So
a lot of bootlegs.
it's really hard, So I don't really tweet too much about certain free agents because Tomlinson and Mac is going to dictate what we do. It's going to dictate what we do in free agency and in the draft. If one doesn't retire, all right, we got one more year. Now we can draft a center, right? Mm-hmm. To replace him in a year, right? You can do that, but it's those two are going to set. It's going to set everything in motion. Same thing on the other side of the ball with DJ Jones, right? And then
I love your segues, my man. I love your segues. So let's talk about that defensive line. So there are some guys, for the most part, obviously the studs are still there. Bosa, Armstead, they're under contract. We got guys like Ebicom and Omenahu are there for edge. But guys like Arden Key, DJ Jones, these are guys that the 49ers have to make decisions on because they're free agents. With the defensive line obviously being the heart of this defense, been kind of the stars of the show. How do you expect the 49ers to upgrade their defensive line? Who do you think they're going to be going after? And who do you think they re-sign?
Well, I don't think Key's going to get a lot on the market. All right. When he was with the Raiders, his sack totals were not good, right? Mm-hmm. But his pressures were decent. Just never finished. Okay. Comes over here, right? He's got the best D-line coach in the game. Tweaks little things here and there, and next thing you know, he's getting sacks. He's constantly in the backfield. So I don't think he's going to warrant, like top DN kind of money, mid DN. No, I can see he can be had probably for about, maybe $6 million annually on average. So I would like to see him back out there, keep that rotation fine. You got Armstead bumped inside, right?
Yeah.
So can we get DJ Jones back, right? If you got DJ Jones and him, you got Gibbons, right? So you do have, it's not about going out and buying a free agent for that line. You don't need that.
Right.
If you can keep your own, you're fine. Okay. Then you get Kinlaw to come back. Right. I don't expect anything great from him. He's coming off, knee surgery, but he'll be in a rotation. So it's really hard to say, about should they draft, a defensive end early on. I wouldn't mind that, right? Because I don't think Key's going to be the guy that you're going to sign like for 5-6 years and let him be around that long. You do want somebody off that edge that's quick, that they can play the wide nine. So I would probably draft. I would sign Key and draft as a replacement, possibly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How do you feel about, because the 49ers do have like kind of like a rotation of really athletic guys that I guess their teams kind of gave up on them. Ebicom, Omenahu, and then Jordan Willis is somebody who the 49ers could possibly bring back as well. Could you see maybe those three guys being on rotation as that other edge, along with a guy like Arden Key, and maybe
Yeah,
just do it
yeah,
by
that's fine.
committee versus going out there and getting like the guy on the opposite end of Bosa?
Yeah, I don't see them sinking a lot of money on that edge. All right. I don't see them going out and shopping for an edge. All right. They're going to try and keep what's theirs and draft, you know. And
Did you
I
see
mean,
enough out of those guys to feel like they could be competent in that role?
yeah. I mean, what do we? I think we now keep in mind we played one more game than the 2019 team regular season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sack totals were eerily similar, weren't they?
Right.
Like damn near like identical, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no, what we have here works. Question is, can we keep them, right?
Yeah.
Can we keep that rotation? Having fresh legs on the defensive line is incredible. That's why the Eagles won the Super Bowl a few years ago. Was the offensive defensive line? The defensive line that came wave after wave. You
Mm-hmm.
weren't sitting out there with the same two edge rushers being on the field for 80% of the game. They didn't do that. It was wave after wave. They had 3 lines of rotation, the Eagles, and they were just keeping fresh legs in, and they kept them in every game. I mean, freaking Nick Foles, right?
Right.
Come on, man. There's a reason. It's that D-line, offensive line. So
Right.
Kyle and company is doing it right. They're getting that line. They know what they need that wins. They know it's you saw I don't know if you saw the argument this week on Twitter with edge versus secondary, right? Who would you rather have, an elite cornerback, right? Would you rather have that or an elite pass rush, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you rather have?
Pass
And
rush for sure.
you can't cover in the NFL forever. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
can't. You need that screaming off the edge and the quarterback getting happy feet, number one, or two, knowing I got to release that fucking thing in 2.5 seconds, right? Now, if you don't have it on a line, guess what? I don't care how good you are, you're not going to cover Cooper Kupp forever.
Right.
You give him 4 to 5 seconds and forget about it. You're done. And that's what would happen if if you go heavy on the secondary. You see a lot of fans that think, let's go get Jackson, right? Out of New England, throw him the money. Oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no. They're not going to throw big money at that. Gilmore, he's the hottest rumor, right? So he's going to be, right now Richard Sherman's blowing smoke, and everybody's believing that shit that Gilmore's going to come out west and go to the Niners. Come on, man, that guy doesn't. Just because he played in the NFL doesn't mean he has inside information on players that are big free agent, right? And like I said today, yeah, you also saw Williams was going to leave us and go to North Jersey with the Jets because he's from, North Jersey, Patterson.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't buy that latest rumor, but I don't see Gilmore coming unless he just say, guys, I want to try for a Super Bowl. I'll sign a 1-year deal for like $6-7 million.
Right. Let's talk about that though, because obviously this defense is geared around the defensive line and obviously some elite linebackers. Last season though, the 49ers secondary was the biggest question mark. They re-signed Verrett, obviously re-signed Mosley, and then they drafted 2 young guys as far as corners with Thomas and Lenore in the 3rd and 5th rounds respectively. Now, these young guys are, Ambry Thomas looked good near the end of the season. Obviously, Mosley looked good throughout the season. But do you think that the 49ers need an overhaul in their secondary? Obviously, you spoke about some of the rumors with the Stephon Gilmore or, obviously Jackson might be way out of the price range. Even guys like Kyle Fuller are going to be on the market, things like that. Do you think the 49ers need to bring in some of these veteran guys that are looked at maybe as shutdown corners, or should they just stick with the guys that they have and maybe fill in more depth pieces and really run with Mosley and Ambry as the 2 starting corners?
Well, if I think you go that route there, you stay with Ambry, was solid, nothing great, wasn't piss poor or anything like that. So you go with Mosley and Thomas. And I've been saying for a while, for Verrett, he's like a lottery ticket, right? You offer him a 1-year deal, incentive laden, give him a 1-year deal, maybe worth $3 million, right? He's coming off an injury. 1 year, $3 million, and incentives to push that all the way up to $5.5 million, maybe $6 million. Okay. Now, if he's back to what he was in 2020, then you hit lottery, right? You hit the lottery.
Right.
Then he's out there. Now you got him and Mosley. If he doesn't, then it's going to be Thomas. All right. So you let Vert, you give him a cheap deal and let him battle out in camp with Thomas. And there you go. Let's see who wins that. Okay. I mean, with Williams, he's got knee issues. So, he's getting.
I think you got to let him walk, right? You got to let Williams. I think you let K1 walk, right?
Yeah. I mean, unless he's taking a dirt cheap salary, yeah. I mean, there was talk about getting Lenore inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can he play the slot? I personally think it's hard to cover the slot than it is to the outside. You just got more. You got more twitchy, quick receivers that line up inside that you're going against. So, you're not going to draft his replacement now, and I don't know if Lenore is going to fit right in right away. I don't know. That's a tough position. So, what are you going to do? You're going to go out there and sign a nickel cornerback? You can. It's going to be pretty. It's going to be. You're going to have to pay good money. That's what I'm saying. It all comes down to you got to worry about the line first on both sides of the line. Then you can see what you have left to worry about a nickel cornerback if you let Williams leaves. And then if we go a little bit further back, right? And I tweeted that today with Tart, right? You have Tart and Ward. Does he come back? Right? He knows the system inside out, Tart.
That's my next question to you, Coach. So, with Tart being a free agent and kind of somebody who's still waiting for that big payday, he's a little bit up there in age. There is a possibility that maybe the 49ers let him walk and maybe go to a team like Miami or the Jets who might be giving him more money, or even, with Miami with no income tax, even the same money is more money if you compared to California. If he does walk, what is the solution? Is the solution on the team already, Coach, or do they need to go out and get somebody?
You're probably going to have to draft, right? You're going to have to draft one regardless. I mean,
did you see enough out of Hufanga?
Tart's not going to Tart's play. He gets by with his football IQ. Very smart. Telling players where to line up, where to go, where the ball's, where the first read's going to be. He's very smart with that. All right. But his numbers are not proven that he's going to get paid. See what I'm saying? Nobody's just going to sit there and say, "Oh my God, you're a stud. We're going to throw you money in." Fucking dude don't even play a full season, right? When is he going to play 17 games this season or 16? It's not going to be, so he's not going to demand a lot of money. I would take him back. He would probably be my first guy back, and replace with a draft pick. Hufanga, listen, I like him. I love his energy. But he's to me, he's not going to be a safety in the long run. All right.
Where do you see him more as?
As a backer, I do. I can see him coming up in the box. I mean, he's not great in coverage. He's not. He's all over the field inside the box.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. He's making plays down inside the box, but I don't see him as a replacement for Tart. Especially not this year. And I don't think he's ready. I don't know. The way the NFL is today and, throwing the ball around, I don't think he's going to fix. He's not going to fit right in and replace Tart's football IQ and calling out the plays and where people should be lined up. So
cool. So let me pose this question to you, Coach. So there's 3 big free agents, obviously. Laken Tomlinson, DJ Jones, and Tart. Out of those 3, how would you rank the importance for the 49ers to bring them back? And then obviously it's going to not only be...
Can I answer this? I'm sorry to cut you off. Can I answer this real quick?
Yeah, please.
What happens with Alex Mack?
Let's assume that he's returning.
He's returning?
Yeah.
Well, then you're going to... DJ Jones first.
Okay.
DJ Jones first. Tomlinson second, then Tart.
Okay. How would it change if Mac was retiring?
You got to go offensive line.
Lake and
You got
Tomlinson
to
first?
replace that money.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that money's got to go. You got to replace the talent, veteran presence, and everything. Is the money's got to go there. You got to replace it. Mac retires. You got to fill that. That's where your money's got to be right away. You can't if he retires, you got to pay Tomlinson. You can't. And if you don't pay Tomlinson, you're going to have to pick up a free agent that's going to, fill his shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tomlinson. Listen, Layton Tomlinson's a very good lineman. He's very good. He
Right.
doesn't miss time, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not great, right? He's not great, although his numbers are pretty damn good. But he's gonna, if he tests free agency, he's probably not gonna come back. He's gonna get somebody's gonna throw a big.
Yeah, there's teams that need him. I mean, Cincinnati just went to the Super Bowl with a trash offensive line. Yeah, so they could use a guy like him. Obviously, Mike McDaniel is very familiar with him, and he could be in Miami as well. So that's why I was really interested, Coach, that the 49ers even gave him the opportunity to test free agency. I thought they would just lock him up before. Yeah. So that kind of makes me feel like the writing's on the wall that he might.
They got a replacement.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe they did like this, what they saw in Aaron Banks, to a point where they're like, all right, he's not quite there, but he shows signs of practice, right?
Right.
Maybe they say, like, we'll let Tomlinson walk.
Or maybe they looked at the way you looked at it. Maybe they've already gotten the word from Mac that he's coming back for a year. And so let's use that money on DJ Jones. Like you said, like, let's focus on, instead of, because like you said earlier in the show, you can't pay everybody. Like, even though you have a quarterback on a rookie contract, you can't pay everybody. Somebody's going to walk. And Debo's getting broken off probably this offseason. Bosa is probably getting broken off next offseason. So, they can't keep everybody. So they have to start making some executive decisions as far as who they want to keep and who they're willing to let walk.
Right. Isn't it crazy what a year Deebo Samuel had, right? Prior to the season start, he was hurt last year, right?
Yep.
Got hurt right when it was at inter-squad practice, right, with Chargers. Walked off, right? We're like, oh, Christ, is it a hamstring? We wound up being his ass. But, like, it's funny because coming into the season, there were talk like, is he going to be? Are they going to resign, extend him, or are they going to let him walk?
Mm-hmm.
Right? There was, that was. It wasn't big on Twitter, with that, but that was what some people in the room were talking about. And, he goes around and has, an incredible season now. That's like, oh, now you got to throw all the money at him.
Right.
It's pretty damn well worth it, especially, if he stays healthy, obviously.
Right. But, which he showed that he could do this season, which is big.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be hard to repeat what he just did this past year. Yeah, he was incredible. First, half the season was incredible. Receiving yards, was in the top 3 for, a handful of weeks, right? Probably maybe even closer to 7, 8 weeks. He was in the top 3 before he started going back and started running the ball more. So, I mean, he's, like you said, he has the ability to get 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving.
Right.
If they let him run the ball, 10 carries a game. So.
And I think the emergence, we talked about Brandon Ayuk. I mean, Brandon Ayuk starts becoming more and more of a threat with Trey. Yeah. That just is going to ease up coverage for the other guys on the team as well. So, I mean, I think you're right. It is going to be difficult for Debo to have that type of season, but I also think they're not going to require that type of season from him anymore, because guys like Brandon Ayuk and hopefully Kittle and Mitchell, and then if they bring back a guy like Mostert, which I know you're high on, bringing him back, if that running game could get back to as dominant as it was in 2019, this Debo was more of a necessity. Like, that was all we had. But I think this season we'll start seeing more of those tools being utilized because, Trey has a stronger arm. So that's what I'm excited to see.
Right. No, you're right. It's going to be good. They just got to keep most of the core back that are free agency. You're not going to keep everybody, obviously, but draft really well. Go ahead and keep most of your free agents. If you can keep 2 if Mac stays, he doesn't retire, you can keep two of those free agents that you put up there. What was it? It was Tart, it was Tomlinson, and Jones, right? You can keep
Yep.
two of them, keep two of them, and Mac doesn't retire. Then just draft well, right? And then make sure you take care of that nickel cornerback position.
Yeah, I mean, luckily the 49ers aren't in dire situation. They have, even though there was a lot of free agents, they still have really good talent at all the core positions.
Oh yeah, yep.
And they could even be in a situation where this year's draft they could go best player available versus just like
Wouldn't that be
forcing a
nice?
pick and stuff like that. So
Yep.
that you'd like to see that in year 6 of this regime where you've done well enough team building where now you could maybe get a luxury versus chasing a need.
Yep. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Coach, it was everything I expected and more with you, my man. I'm glad I got to see the face behind the Twitter handle. Is there anything that you want to plug anywhere where you'd like these guys to go see you or move forward?
No, no, I mean, I don't have anything like that. I don't, but I appreciate you having me on. I had a great time, and I look forward to do this again down the road. So
Absolutely, and you'll definitely be on my list. Guys, I appreciate everybody that joined in the show. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for liking the video. Please subscribe if you haven't. And thanks for kicking it with us on a Friday night. I mean, you guys are great. Have a safe night. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Most of all, stay hydrated, my friends. And we'll talk again very, very soon.